Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. Today we have a 5v5 going down on Hilly Plateau, classic map. I actually really enjoy casting this particular map, which is why there are several different replays on my channel on Hilly Plateau. And I think that this map, it really just lends itself to some really good play and allows for, there can be good opportunities for fire basing. There's some good choke points for that, but there's also a lot of different choke points, which allows you to be a little bit more mobile as a player and circumvent any defenses. So I really like this map. I really enjoy it. Hopefully y'all enjoy it too. Let's go ahead and get into introducing our players real quick. We're going to call this Team 1 up at the top, Team 2 down at the bottom. Let's start with our rear guard air position. We have Chunky, who is working with that really chunky UEF commander, and he's going first land in that air position. To his north, we have Buzzazika, and he's going Aeon, opening first and second land in the northern slot. To the south, on his way to the middle, we have Butthurt, who's going UEF, opening first land. His partner on the front line is going to be Mochulal. I'm not actually sure if that's how you pronounce that name, but that's how Guile always pronounces it, so that's what I'm going with. He's going Cybran, opening first land. And last but not least, for team number 1, we've got JJ Sheridan, who's going Seraphim, opening first, second land, and third air, I would believe, based on that particular build order. And let's flip to team number 2 before we miss some of the action. We have another lovely to pronounce name, which is Red Vismosis. We're going to call him Red for this game. And he's going Cybran, opening first land, second air in that air position, which is pretty standard. We have ACA 240, who's going Cybran in the northern position. He's opening first land. Almost to the middle, we've got LCR, who's going Seraphim, opening first land. His partner on the front line is going to be Snowmadna. We're going to call him Snow. And he's going to be going Seraphim, opening first land as well. And last but not least in this game, we've got another beautiful name, Deucalion, I believe is how I'm going to pronounce that name, based on the spelling of deuterium. And I don't know what to do with Callion. So those are our players as they shake up, as the 4 forward players end up making landfall here in the middle of the map, grabbing a lot of this lovely reclaim. So on Hilly Plateau, there's a good amount of rocks here in the middle, and you'll often see some commander fights break out over said reclaim. There's 2 mass extraction points as well, so it does make it a point of interest later in the game in order for securing some of that lovely late game mass goodness. As all 4 players kind of dividing in half, it seems they're just kind of exchanging blows. We do have Mochulal going for mass extraction point there in the middle and immediately pausing it. I believe he has I forget the name of the mod, but there's a mod that will auto upgrade your mexes and pause them, so that instead of clicking them, you can instead just worry about the upgrading. But Snowmadna needs to be a little bit careful here, as he is now in a 2v1 situation, although Chunky seems to have fallen a little bit asleep. He is that rear guard air position, so he's busy doing other stuff in his base up in the northern side of the map, so to be expected. Has seemed to have woken up though, as Snow now on the retreat, dropping into the yellow against these 2 comms, and there's not really any help for him anywhere. So this could be our first eviction from the game. He throws down a land factory to try and block as much as he can. That is cleaned up by Chunky, although Chunky seems to have his mind elsewhere at this particular point, so not going to be running him down. And actually we do have Deucalion moving up from the eastern side of the map, and that is going to mean that Snow is going to be able to make it out by the skin of his teeth. On the flip side though, we do have some artillery as well as some T1 land support, and those are Butthurt's commander, Butthurt's Lobos, which just automatically sounds really funny to say, and LCR now in big trouble, dropping under 1000 HP. Butthurt not really in range to do a trade, so that's going to be LCR's eviction from the game. Butthurt surviving on about 2200 HP, with Mochulal and Chunky now in front taking a 3 commanders worth of control over the middle of the map, with Snow being pushed off earlier on in the game. So early advantage going to team number 2 at this point. 1 comm going down within the first 5 minutes. Snow not looking super healthy as well. And on the far western side of the map, we've got Sheridan, who's dropping a factory with his commander, getting some of these reclaimed fields as well, as something falls out of my pocket. Apologies for that. But Sheridan grabbing some of these reclaimed fields and getting a factory down that is producing engineers in order to get some of that lovely reclaim, as well as get some tanks in on the back line. Going to mop up a radar, as well as take out a mass extraction point. Elsewhere on the map, we've got gun speed and range now coming in for ACA. He's got about 90% done on that upgrade. And Tech 2 now coming in for Snowmadna as well. So a couple of different comm upgrades coming in for team number 2. Team 1, though, in a good position as far as map control goes. You can see we've got top side. ACA has expanded to really kind of what his primary goal is in that position, getting a couple of mexes on the other side of this little valley. Whereas on the flip side, we've got it's going to be Sheridan actually expanding well into the southern part of the territory that would normally be dominated by Deucalion. So Deucalion's going to have to put on some tap dancing shoes and be able to take out a lot of these mexes. And looks like ACA and Buzz exchanging a couple of blows there in the northern side of the map. ACA, I'm not quite sure why he didn't pursue that a little bit further. Could have gotten some good damage in on Buzz, but then again, as you all know, there is we know everything whenever we can see the entire map, and these players can't see everything all at the same time. So it can get a little dicey whenever you're pushing into unknown territory, similar to how Deucalion is right now. He's a little unhappy with Sheridan unlawfully taking claim over his territory. He's going to bag himself a couple of T1 units there on the eastern side of the map. And it's got a good amount of T1 as well heading out to deal with some of the reclaim operations here going down for Sheridan and get some of his bequeathed territory back, as he's going to lose potentially another engineer, yep, down in the southwestern side of the map, and a mex as well. So Deucalion responding well, able to get back parts of the map that are normally his, as well as provide some pressure here with some good unit movements and trying to make imbalances where he can. Tech 2 now getting started there for Deucalion as well. Gun speed and range coming in for Mochulal, and gun speed, I would imagine, followed by the gun range upgrade coming in for Buzz. Buzz is the only Aeon in this game, so the only one that's going to have to upgrade 2 different gun upgrades in order to get there. And T2 actually just now kicking off there for Butthurt there in the middle, as he's got a whole host of Lobos. A lot of good building killing potential there in the middle. But everybody's getting gun upgrades right now. We do have a little Jester, a couple of Jesters that are now moving out, and those are going to be from Mochulal to deal with some of the T1 units. Jester is not a unit that you see a whole lot, but can be useful in this kind of instance where you're dealing with some Tech 1 units, you want to get them out, you want to have high mobility, especially because Mochulal has prioritized Tech 2 and is already got a Tech 2 HQ on the field. So not going for Tech 1 spam. I think he only has one other Tech 1 factory, which is bold, to say the least, in the forward position. We'll see if that pays off for him. But opting for Jesters instead of Tech 1 units to help control any spam that are coming out from his opponents. So good to see innovation, new strategies coming out. while everybody is, or actually Sheridan seems to be burrowing himself in relatively well on this side, and he's actually gotten some assistance from Mochulal. So Mochulal did produce, I guess, a couple of Tech 1 units before going for that Tech 2, and is now using those to harass Deucalion's position there in the southern part of the map. And at the same time using some Jesters to deal with Tech 1 units there from Snow in the middle of the map. So good map awareness from Mochulal there. As far as our rearguard air positions are going, Red has gotten to Tech 3 air, also has a Hive up as well, so wanting to get some extra build power. Starting to upgrade some of these mexes to Tech 2, devoting a lot of build power to that. And his opponents, which would be Chunky on the other side of the map, in a similar position, although Chunky went for quite a few more supporting factories, so 2 land factories and 2 additional supporting air factories. And with that has gotten himself a little bit of a T1 Air Force here, got a couple of bombers and interceptors. Not sure how much use that will be late game, but definitely better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, as I always say. But he's getting his first T3 power generator up, going for his shield, so, and does have his first T3 mechs, so I guess you could say ahead in some areas, behind in others. He's a little behind on the power side of things, but a little ahead on the mass side from his opponent. As Buzz now pushing in with that newly minted gun upgrade, he's going to run into some Tech 2 units as well as ACA's commander here. And Buzz finding himself surrounded with all of his Tech 1 units getting wiped out. ACA could go for a Shift G here, I think. Be able to punish this. Throws an overcharge out on a Mex, and Buzz starting to look like he's in danger here. So he drops well below half HP. ACA could follow, but instead electing not to, and actually Jesters from Mochulal coming in, as well as that Tech 1 Air Force from Chunky. And ACA may have thought those were Renegades or Tech 2 gunships instead. Was worried about the gunship snipe, when in reality those are just Jesters. Jesters now being tasked to go back in, I guess, on ACA's commander here. There is a mobile AA in the vicinity, but there is also our first ASF now making its way onto the scene. Gemini, second one soon to follow, and those mopping up the Tech 1 gunships with ease. One volley, almost one missile, enough to take out a gunship. That's going to be it for that little gunship maneuver. And it's going to be kind of the end there of Chunky's Tech 1 Air Force's viability in this game. But regardless, saved an ally. I think that, yeah, if ACA had pushed there, although again, we can't see the entire map. If ACA had pushed there, Buzz would be dead, and that would have blown the entire side open. Incidentally, talking about security, Chunky as well as Buzz and Butthurt all building the Great Wall of Team 2 on all different choke points on the northern side of the map, so not interested at all in dealing with run-bys in any way, shape, or form. It's probably something I could do better as a player, is using walls. I very rarely use walls, and I think I've said that for about a year now, and I just forget every single game because you got so much going on in your mind. You got Mex upgrades, worrying about floating mass, worrying about floating energy, worrying about not having enough energy, and usually I don't have enough mass. So those three things, usually enough to occupy the 3 neurons that I have functioning in my brain, usually. Tech 2 now out there for Snow. He's got a couple of Ilshivas bumping around on the front line. Got ACA's commander still playing it fast and loose up there. Pretty healthy Air Force, I'd say, for this particular point in the game. And actually for Chunky, just now starting to see first ASFs coming off of the line. Was a little bit behind on the power game, I think. Although he is getting now his third Tech 3 mechs. Let's look at what his opponent's doing. We've got mechs upgrade. So working off of one Tech 3 mechs for the time being. And upgrading 2 at the same time. This is usually not great. Just because we've got 40% completion there and 80% completion there. If he had not started this upgrade, this one would be done already. And then he could use the mass coming off of this Tech 3 mechs to upgrade this mechs as well. Usually bulk upgrading mechs, unless you have just a ton of extra mass, not going to pay off in the long run. It's going to cause for stalls. And as we all know, stalling is not good, especially if you're in an aircraft. If you're in an aircraft and you're stalling and you're flying it, it's an ungood situation to be in. I know there are a couple of people that watch my casts that are pilots, just because I've talked to y'all. And incidentally, if you guys want to hang out with me and play games with me, you guys can add me on Discord. I'm on a couple times a week. I don't really have a schedule at all. But I get on and I do play Supreme Commander quite a bit. So yeah, if you guys want to get in on some games, you guys want to play some 1v1s, you guys want to join some of the groups that I play with, feel free to add me on Discord. My handle is down in the description below. It's the Duelist hashtag, and I can't remember the numbers. I think it's 5505. And y'all can add me on Discord. We'll get you in on some games. Just add me as a friend and let me know you'd like to play some games. I can direct you to the appropriate spots. There's Mochulal with stealth and gun upgrade on his commander. Again, playing pretty forward at this point, especially with whalers out. So we have a whaler, another whaler now coming out there from red. Seeing those whalers out, it's not necessarily a healthy spot to put your comm forward, although there are several mobile flak in this mix, so maybe he feels relatively safe about that. As there is some team coordination, you love to see it. But team number 2 now shelling with several mobile missile launchers on the bottom side of the map. And we are in a 4v5 situation here, so LCR was our early ejection, and they've kind of divvied up his base. Looks like Snow did a pretty good job of capturing and capping all those mexes. Left a half-finished shield generator there, hoping somebody else is going to clean up his mess. It's like my siblings. I'm the oldest of 4, so it was pretty common for me to get blamed for just about everything wrong that happened. Shout out to any older siblings that are watching this. The younger siblings always get the easy way out, as Whaler's going to clean up some of the mobile missile launchers at the front line, as well as some of the engineers. But this is a little bit more of a pressing scenario here, as Deucalion really just hoping to turtle as much as he can, take out some of these mobile missiles. Shield is losing slowly, but Buzzkill is able to keep up relatively well, buy him some time. That is until a bunch more mobile missile launchers show up on the front line and start unloading into the shield. That's going to drop it from 33% to downright 0 really quickly, and even kill the shield generator almost right off the bat. So Deucalion needs some answer to this kind of long-range assault that's happening on his position, where his point defense can't quite get there. Does have a flapjack that is shooting back. Which is, I think, one response that I didn't necessarily address on mobile missile launchers, is it can be a good response to just get your own mobile missile launchers if you have a fire base that's under threat. Because you'll have TMD and the ability to build it, and 9 times out of 10, it's either going to force your opponent to build TMD if they're sieging you, which they don't really want to do, or they're just going to have to tank it, because there's not very many land units that actually have tactical missile defense. I think the only one that you actually have to worry about is the Loyalist, and it's tactical missile deflection, which is nasty. But as we're talking about that, see some whalers now coming in there from red, trying to alleviate some of the pressure. They're going to focus down some of the mobile AA guns as much as they can. There's still 2 remaining, representing some good AoE damage there. Whaler's going to take a little bit of a beating, but still will be able to deal with a lot of these mobile missile launchers, especially if they can get this last one. There you go. And Titans as well coming out from Deucalion, who has now made his way to Tech 3 land. Air coming in from Chunky. Gonna mop up all of the whalers. Quite sure where the ASFs were from red, where Fred just didn't really build that many ASF. It didn't really seem like there was a hard fought fight there for the protection of his gunships. He might have thought he was further ahead than he was, seeing the energy situation, although now we've got a proper late game eco already happening here at 20 minutes there from Chunky in the back line. So he's bringing his mexes with Tech 2 mass fabs. If you guys don't know how to do this, this was, I don't know if a macro would be an appropriate word there, but it was a added ease of access there for people in an update that dropped a couple of months ago. But you can, I believe it's either 2 or 3 clicks on an upgraded and ringed mechs, and it'll automatically build Tech 2 mass fabs around your mexes with adjacency. And then you can see Chunky taking advantage of that here. It does have the power infrastructure with 3 power generators and a 4th one coming online. So definitely good to see him making use of all the tools at his disposal to get as much eco as he can in his particular position. The push hasn't entirely gone away there on the southern side of the map either. We now have Tech 3 artillery being brought in, so the Southernist mobile artillery being brought in from Sheridan there to shell Deucalion's base. Deucalion got bailed out a few minutes ago from some whalers. Now he's going to have to contend with Tech 3 mobile artillery. He is Tech 3 land, so that's going to help him out quite a bit, because he does have Percival's on the front line laying into the opposing forces. And there are Ilshivas there. Ilshivas, of course, fantastic Tech 2 units, but hard to trade blow for blow with equal numbers of Percivals, as the Titans being brought in now with their higher fire rate. Percival's being brought up close behind, and he's going to lose. I'm not sure what my mouse did just there, but going to lose a couple of his Southernists. But Deucalion going to lose all of his Titans. By and large, good trade, I think, for him. By him, I mean Deucalion. See, he's bought himself some more time from this base. I'm curious what he's buying time for. Okay, so he's going for more of a late game eco strat. He's got the Quantum Gateway laid down. He's starting to get some kennels. Does have a Fat Boy as well in the queue. So playing a little bit more for the long game, whereas Sheridan, if we look at his, he's got an Ethoda under construction right now. He's at T3, but he doesn't have the tools to build RAS commanders, so he's looking for a little bit more of that hard push immediately through that Ethoda than the long game. So we'll see how this plays out between these two players as they're still yo-yoing back and forth here in the middle. Percival's trading really well with Othams, as you would expect to see, being a little bit more of a higher class unit. There's really 3 kind of tiers within Tech 3 as far as main battle units. You've got your Titans, which are kind of like Tech 3, and then you've got your Othams and Harbingers, which are Tech 3.3 or whatever. And then you've got your Percivals and your bricks, which are kind of like 3.6. And then you get to Tech 4 through the Ethodas and other experimentals. So a lot of the action right now happening where there aren't walls. Who would have thunk it? But looking at the other players in this game, we've got ACA starting to get Tech 3 power online. We've got Snow, already got some Tech 3 power. He's working on an Ethoda. Some of that good, spicy goodness. And, we got Laser coming in now from Mochulal, as well as a Monkey Lord. So, Mochulal going for both safe and risky plays, I guess, at the same time through the Monkey and with the Laser. I'm going to guess that Teleporter's going to follow that. We have a GC on the way for Buzz, and Air Player's doing what Air Player's doing there for Chunky. So he's wrapping up the last portions of his air grid, a couple more factories queued up, a couple more power generators. SMD queued up for him, as well as some tele defense around said SMD, which is good to see. No nukes, though, that I've seen just yet. Not sure if there are any nukes that are coming out from team number 2. Not seeing anything. Everybody seems to be focused on experimentals at this point in the game, which is what I would expect. Quite a bit of the action, though, still staying centralized to this particular causeway, as bricks get a nice run by there from Mochulal. They're going to run into some T1 units and just plow over those or cut through them like hot knife through butter. There's got to be another euphemism you can use there. Hot knife through cheese. I don't know. I've never tried to cut cheese with a hot knife. I feel like it would just get greasy. Although that might help with the, the lubrication kind of aspects of it. So maybe a hot knife through cheese is a good thing to do. I have a gas stove. Maybe I'll go test this out. Although I don't have a block of cheese. I usually buy grated cheese if I'm going to buy cheese. I'm not that kind of person. I know this might be really hard to believe, but I'm actually not the kind of person that sits in bread with a block of cheese and just takes bites out of it. If you're that kind of person, I don't mean to disparage you at all, but it's not something I do. Not because cheese isn't amazing, as there's an air fight going on here in the middle that looks like Red's getting some really, really good turns here on Chunky. And Chunky's gonna bug out, hope for a better engagement next time, but also gonna lose several broadswords here. So Red on the ball. But going back to our eating cheese in your bed kind of thing, if that's your cup of tea, then that is all you, man. My wife just doesn't like me to bring food in the bed. She doesn't like ants or any bugs. So we've got Monkey Lord now crushing Deucalion's firebase. That Monkey Lord now finished there from Mochulal. Corsairs being used to respond from Red, and that Ethoda that we talked about a little earlier, newly minted from Snow, going to be able to stop that Monkey Lord in its tracks. Percival's going to be the next to fall. Bouncers eating it. Although Percival's there from Deucalion running into a few more Othams than they were initially expecting to. I kind of feel like the Othams, like if you, I'm just in a cheese mindset apparently right now, but the Othams, before you zoom in and it renders all the model, they kind of look like blocks of cheese. It's not like good cheese because they're like whitish and gray, but yeah, kind of like blocks of cheese. Maybe it's like that really artisan kind of cheese that, people get really, really excited about, that smells terrible and tastes terrible, but for whatever reason, if you eat it with red wine, it tastes really good. I don't know. What I do know, though, is Monkey Lord engaging with the GC, that GC from Buzz. Tons of Tech 1 bombers being deployed from Red, who has probably put all of his air capacity to dealing with that GC. GC gonna go down, deposit some, well, I thought it was gonna go down. Thought it was gonna go down with that last pass. I think it got a fortunate rank of veterancy. There is flak in the mix there for Buzz. And each of these flak have 18, 40 kills or so between the two of them. There are just so many T1 bombers that GC goes down now, I think. Yep, too many T1 bombers to deal with. One more pass from a few of them should do the trick. Although that GC not in as ideal of a spot as ACA could have hoped for. Ideally, it dies a little bit further back here. You could have grabbed the reclaim with these engineers, but you know, you'll take a dead GC when you can get one. On the other side of the map, we've got the Thoda from Snow was trying to push out, get some ground, but Fat Boy from Butthurt's gonna, well, cause him a whole lot of butthurt there on the chicken, as well as the Thoda newly minted for there from Sheridan. Deucalion, though, well, I was going to say he had gotten a pretty good handle on the bottom side of the map, but these bricks from Mochulao really paying for themselves here, continuing to take out mexes down on the bottom side of the map, cause problems, and Deucalion needing to split up some of his forces. Ithoda there from Snow gifted over to him. As we have another air engagement here that I think is also going to go the way of Red. Red was trying to clear out some of these Tech 1 bombers that are left over from the previous GC engagement. But this coalition here between Sheridan and Butthurt, as well as the Fat Boy and the Ithoda, going to be causing some problems here on the southern flank that Team 2, I think, were just feeling like they had kind of locked down, but maybe not quite, as Corsairs start to make passes on this Fat Boy. Lightning tanks, though, now in the vicinity for Sheridan, so opting for Tech 3 AA there instead of Tech 2 AA. Always good to see. Lightning tanks, I'm not sure which are the best at dealing with Tech 3 AA or Tech 3 Air. I'm not sure which of the mobile Tech 3 AA is the best, but Lightning tanks definitely seem to be up there, at least as far as I'm concerned. This Fat Boy, though, probably going to go down here to the continuous stream of Corsairs as well as Tech 1 bombers coming out of Red, who has really been on the ball as far as air awareness this game. Being able to respond with the appropriate units needed at the appropriate time, and has really bailed his allies out multiple times so far in this game. Oh, Deucalion. Okay, so Mochulao did go for that telly after that laser that we saw earlier, and he's going to snipe Deucalion. That's going to be big problem. I don't think Mochulao is going to make it out of here, though. This was a one-way ticket, my friend. You got Corsairs, Tech 1 bombers, and he actually even cancels the teleport operation there. So 1 for 1, but as far as the map is concerned, Mochulao did not hold, I think, a huge sphere of influence. As you can see, what died was largely controlled by Sheridan and Butthurt. Mochulao focusing on his teleport and his laser. Whereas for team number 2, losing Deucalion leaves a huge vacuum of power down here on the southern side of the map. But it's not all without any consolation. ACA getting some work done here with these bricks. So we got a quick game pause and resume there. But bricks doing some work here, taking out some engineers, some factories. Interestingly, not dealing with the Harbinger that's shooting at them, or the one most immediately. There it goes. Now it's going down. But these bricks poised to do a pretty significant amount of damage. So I believe I just heard a nuke fire off, and that's going to be out of Buzz. So Buzz with a nuclear missile launcher now making its way towards team number 2's base. We have an SMD here in ACA's base. It is not loaded though. I think that's going after Red's base, and that is going to be crippling for team number 2. Neither SMD's loaded. And Red's calm outside of the blast, but that's going to send him back to the Stone Age as far as air is concerned. He's going to have to build his way back up. So ACA and Snow going to have to bust a move here in the kind of middle portions of this game, as we just now cracked 33 minutes into the game. Although ACA doing some good work here. GC in pursuit of these bricks, but that's going to be, I believe, a couple of T3 mechs is going down there for Buzz. Needs to take those bricks to the north, though. Doesn't want to deal with that GC if he doesn't have to, but I think it might be a little bit too late here, as GC now well and truly in range with both its tractor beam claws as well as its laser vision. So that will be the end of that incursion, but some good work I think was done regardless, as Red continuing to, even in the absence of any additional production, continuing to maintain air dominance as best as he can against Chunky. And he's getting a bunch of Tech 1 land factories up. I'm guessing these are to produce engineers and build power. Looks like he saved a couple of T3 engineers, which is good. He'll be able to get Tech 3 power back up relatively quickly. So we'll see how quickly he can get back to that Tech 3 production with some energy overflow and maybe some mass donations from his friends or some reclaim. But multiple GCs almost done there for Buzz. Shield now coming in for Butthurt. Chunky seems to be, even though, I mean, he doesn't have air dominance just yet. I feel like he needs to go all in ASFs, force an air fight, take out the rest of Red's ASFs, then go for broadswords. I think this is a little premature, or he's going for stingers actually, not broadswords, so maybe this is in response to an experimental push potentially, but I don't think Team 2 is going to be pushing with experimentals anytime soon. What they are doing, though, is everybody has now built their own SMDs to make sure that we don't have a replication of what just happened to Red happen again. ARAS coming in for Sheridan. Tech 3 now coming in for Butthurt after the shield upgrade just completed. Deucalion's base getting cannibalized by Snow, who has now got himself an additional 2 Tech 3 mexes and one that's undoubtedly on its way to Tech 3. Red has gotten himself back into the power generation game. He's gotten the lights back on. He is no longer Texas in the winter. For anybody new to the channel, I'm actually from Texas, and let me tell you, winter of 2021 was an interesting ride. My wife and I were very lucky. We are on a power provider that's kind of outside of a lot of the main cities, so for whatever reason, our power provider was able to handle the demands on the Texas grid, or on their grid, a lot better than some of our friends who are in the Austin area. So we just had to deal with occasional blackouts that would last for 2 to 3 hours or so, and then we'd have power again for 2 to 3 hours. So much better than just not having power for 3 days, which is kind of what happened to a lot of our friends. As Red actually starting laser on his commander. Where did his commander go? Am I blind? I mean, of course I'm blind. Okay, there's his commander. So he's going laser. He's got Tech 3 and RAS on his commander right now. So might be going for a tele snipe of his own instead of going back to the air game, which I don't know. I'm not sure is the best plan. I think trying to get back into the air game is going to be your best option at this point. Like, try and get your mexes back, try and get back into the air game a little bit, and he is doing that a little bit, still getting some power. He's still capping Tech 3 mexes, so maybe he hasn't abandoned it entirely, but going for tele laser seems to be bold at this point. And I think it is going to hang his team out to dry a little bit. Got a poor engineer there from Snow, going to get taken out by Tech 3 mobile artillery. And looking at Snow's base, Snow actually working on a Hovatham right now. So Tech 3 artillery. I'm going to try and work to close this game out a little bit with some standoff tactics. No response. Oh, nope, it's staring me right in the face. So he's actually a Duke that is very nearly done there from Butthurt. And that's going to be done before that Hovatham, so this Hovatham might have been a response, and needs to sort his power grid out as he starts another one before the first one is done. Again, one thing at a time, please, gentlemen. But needs to sort his power grid out here so that the shields will stay on, so that he can protect himself from the artillery that's coming in, which is what I believe this additional power generator is going online for. Red also getting a lot of additional power up. We've got 3, 4, and 5 power generators up, undoubtedly to fuel the incoming teleportation upgrade. He's about 92% done on that laser comm upgrade. Snow getting even more power. How bad is Snow stalling power? Okay, so he's not really stalling power that badly. I guess just looking for some redundancy, which I can definitely understand and appreciate. So first Hovatham, pretty close to getting done. Duke is now complete. We can see the first shells firing off, making their way across the map. They're going directly for Snow's position. As Snow working as quickly as he can to finish that Hovatham. Does have all of the reclaim, though, for the various experimentals that we saw earlier battling it out. So the Athotas as well as the Monkey. Does have 3 Athotas of his own holding down the southern side of the map. He's going to use those to try and gain back some lost territory with Deucalion's demise from that very unfortunate tele-snipe from Mochu Lao. And Hovatham now goes online, getting an additional SMD, which I think seems a little redundant. It's not like they're going for massive nukes. Buzz doesn't even have another one in the tube, isn't assisting. Is going for a Tsar, though, which for the longest time with Guile's British accent, I thought he was saying za. And to me, being the American that I am, this looks kind of like pizza. So I was like, oh, gonna get some za, bro. But yeah, going for a Tsar. Kind of funny how I took an accent that was misheard and just immediately bent it to something that made sense in my own mind. I'm here all week, don't worry, for more pointless anecdotes. Second Hovatham now just cracking 25% of the way done. Does have, I think, enough shielding to deal with 1 Duke. Could be problematic if we start getting 2 or 3, although Butthurt doesn't really seem to be putting together another Duke right now. On the southern side of the map, we're starting to see some chickens battling it out with 1 chicken and a GC there from team number 1. So Snow looking to defend that position. He does have 2 additional Athotas he could pull up from the southern side, and that might be what he's doing, trying to bait Sheridan and Buzz into a fight that they're not going to win. Although he needs to wait, he needs to not trickle these experimentals in, because there are lots of quite a few siege tanks here as well he needs to be paying attention to. Looks to be suiciding a second one to try and get that ion storm down. Needs to be mindful of his own ion storm attacking his units. Buzz going to lose a GC to the said Ion Storm. So 2 more Thodas. I'm not sure if Snow has more on the way. It does have 1, but it's not very heavily prioritized. Got a little bit more build power going into that Hovatham. Teleporter now 42% of the way done there for Red. So I'm curious what Red's going to go for. Because there's not really any tele defense outside of Chunky. And Chunky doesn't have like the most chunky, if you'll borrow the euphemism, or if you'll borrow the pun, Tech 1 point defense there for tele defense. Everything seems to be pretty open. I think that priorities should be either Buzz or, I mean, actually, I don't know. I guess Buzz. But Czar now done there for Buzz. He is now getting ready to molest the southern side of the map. Red with the remaining Air Force, as I don't think he has produced any additional Air Force. And there was an Otham that made it all the way back in here. Not quite sure. That must have been a run by from the south, but Czar unprotected. I don't think Buzz thought that there were any more ASFs he had to worry about. So going to potentially donate this Czar. And if he's real careful, he can get it to drop on top of all of Sheridan's units. So not gonna do quite as much damage as I thought it would. It would have been really funny if it had taken out a bunch of Sheridan's units. But there is also an Awasa, so Chunky and Buzz starting to flex their air superiority muscles here as Team 2 start to go heavily on the back foot here at the back half of this game. The second Hovatham almost done. This could be their salvation here. They're able to keep it alive long enough. They could do some pretty significant damage here with that second Hovatham, as once you get up to 2 Tech 3 artillery, that's whenever you start being able to overwhelm some shields relatively well. But they got to deal with this push too. 2 GCs, several mobile AA, as well as some shield generators coming in there from Buzz, facing off against ACA's Monkey Lord as well as Megalith. So, nice thing here is that GC seems to have taken a lot of damage, although these guys are about to take some pretty significant damage there from that ass washer. Again, Red sending what ASF he still has remaining. And Chunky missing there with his ASF. In response, going to lose his ass washer. And on the bottom side for this push, Monkey Lord traded for a GC. This Megalith, though, still laying into that GC. The GC seems more focused on dealing with the mechs instead of dealing with the Megalith. That Megalith going to be able to take out that GC, I believe. I don't think there's enough shielding here to be able to save it. Shield does blink back on. What is the recharge time on that shield? That's a really quick recharge time there. But Megalith going to be able to take that out. Next, we got to shift our attention to the western side as a team number 2 playing whack-a-mole here with their land forces, trying to hang on to what territory they can. Unfortunately, giving up a lot of reclaim here to team number 1. As the Athodas from Snow seem very focused on just buying time. That second Hovatham now online, so we got 2 long-range artillery going up against 1 there from Butthurt. He has started and is close to halfway through his second T3 artillery. Czar now complete. Another one there for Buzz. And this time there are no remaining ASF here for team number 2. A lot is going to hinge on this tele-snipe that Red has got in the tube here. 70% done on that teleporter. He has next to no power, though, only working off of 2 power generators, as a lot of his grid that he had reconstructed got taken out by that run-by that I missed earlier. Apologies for that. But yeah, a lot hinges on how well this teleporter goes. So looking at the map, I would almost say Butthurt is a priority here, which anytime I say his name just automatically makes it funny. But he has shield. We have Buzz has shield as well. Down here, Jay Sheridan has tele defense, and options looking pretty thin here. Maybe just go for the long range artillery. Just go in, do as much damage as you can to the long range artillery, and hope that Snow can close it out with the rest of it. Another Tsar coming in there. Lots of Tech 3 AA staged, several Myrmidons. And they're going to be able to shoo off that Tsar. Tech 3 AA, this is really the best thing that you can do, honestly. I think at this point it's a little bit late for Red to get back into the air game as he's going for a teleport. Let's see where he's going. So he's not going for Chunky. I don't think he's going for JJ. Ah, here he is. He's going for Buzz. Buzz under a couple of shields. He's standing next to a couple of P-gens though, and his strategic missile launcher, which are all volatile and can do relatively significant damage. That's also going to do some damage to Red, as Red makes landfall and doesn't target the comm. Actually makes a little bit of a misstep there, targets some units. Although there are Ravagers as well that I didn't see earlier down in Chunky's base. Chunky also with gunships to respond. Red, I think, trying to do what he can, get through some shields, but I don't think that was the teleport that they were looking for. On the top side, at least getting Buzz out of the game does really blow the top side open, but I don't know, it's kind of hard to say what the best strategy was as far as where that tele should have gone. I think I would have said go for Butthurt, even with the tele defense, so you can get rid of the Tech 3 artillery. Hindsight's 2020 though, as a storm of broadswords now get brought in on Snow's base. Although they don't really seem to be doing anything, they seem to be repositioning for something, and they have not gotten a shot off. And with the flak and the T3AA there for Snow, I think almost all of them going to get eviscerated. They just seem to be constantly repositioning. Wow. I don't think I saw a single broadsword shoot. And now all the ASF are just parking. As I think Chunky might have been issuing I don't know, an invalid attack command. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he was trying to attack move and the broadswords were getting confused. But either way, not too happy with how that situation went. And I can't say I blame him. I've definitely been on the other end of that before. But shields now beginning to fall here for Snow, as I don't think he had enough shield generation here. Second Duke online. Shield's going to buy him a little bit more time. Needs to get some of these Tech 3 engineers getting some more shield generators up. Does he have the power to be able to run these? Oh yeah, he's got plenty of power. Does have plenty of Athodas as well. Needs to get these guys back from broadswords. There are a couple of Tech 3 AA that are able to deal with them. Actually seems like he wants to turn around and fight while there's an Athoda on his backside right now. And second one coming in as well from Sheridan, as well as a whole host of siege tanks. It's going to be one chicken down there for Snow, and Snow actually electing to back up. I think at that point it's better to just stand and fight and do what damage you can. Because right now you're just gonna leave your Athodas unable to really respond, although there's not really much left to respond to. It's just the broadswords that are gonna go down. Is actually ACA stepping up to the plate here in the Tech 3 air game. He has made that jump, got his Tech 3 air HQ up, needs a more fleshed out grid, but does have, okay, no, those are all engineers that are on pause. I thought those were all ASF. So needs a little bit more of a fleshed out grid. I think he can get his team some time. Although Snow needs still more shielding here. These shield generators going up very slowly, as he just needs more build power. He's got plenty of resources, but needs a lot more build power. That's going to be the first Hovatham going down. Trying to get this shield generator up. Can potentially abuse that wreck and get a Hovatham that's halfway done. But he's also having to deal with this land incursion. This is a lot to deal with if you're a player. As Butthurt, I don't think, is in any real danger of losing either of his artillery units here. So Snow's going to have to bulk up his shielding. He is Seraphim, so he does have access to the most powerful shields in the game. And I think he actually went and reclaimed. I think he reclaimed that Hovatham wreck. Either that or an unfortunate Duke shot destroyed the reclaim, which would be your worst case scenario. But Ithoda's now moving in. All of them pretty heavily damaged here. One's going to go down. Second one soon to follow. Can't imagine the third's going to be for this world very much longer either, especially if it stands in that ion storm like that. It continues losing good amounts of HP. Does get Sheridan's Ithoda though, so that's good. Also getting a couple of Sheridan's Rascoms that were airlifted up to get some reclaim. That's a pretty healthy amount of reclaim here that was deposited on his doorstep. Just needs a way to secure it. Only has one Ithoda, and there's a new fresh Ithoda now coming in from Sheridan. That really seems like Snow. Snow is playing, I think, his heart out here, but struggling to catch a break. Same with ACA, as ACA has been himself the recipient of a couple of rough pushes, as we have got a strat snipe on the cards here for, I would imagine, for Snow, as actually his next Hovatham goes down. Snow with very little HP, and the strats probably going to seal the deal here. I think it's only going to take one or maybe two, as those are a lot of bombs away. Very overkill. But Snow's going to go down, and I don't think ACA has enough gas in the tank here to be able to keep himself alive as he loses almost his entire mass infrastructure there in his core base. He's losing the energy. As Chunky is saying, watch the replay. Don't worry, man. Don't worry, Chunky. I got you. It was weird. I don't know what happened with those gunships. And yes, he did run them into SAMs, but they also didn't fire at all, which was quite unusual. So don't worry, Chunky, I got you. Hopefully hundreds of other people will also have you as well. And yes, that was quite a weird gunship interaction. Not quite sure what happened there. But ACA, now we've got a satellite there from Chunky. It's ACA's commander just outside the shield, just outside of temporary safety. His megaliths gonna go down to Ithodas and siege tanks banging down his front door. I'm thinking he's just gonna die to a defense satellite, which is already just a weird thing to say in and of itself. You died to a defense satellite. The best defense is a good offense. That should be the theme for the UEF. As the next round, probably going to drop him down to below 2k HP. I think he's now noticed. But that's going to drop him down to... actually, it's going to kill him. That last volley from the satellite dropped him from 4,000 to 0, which is actually more damage than I thought a defense satellite did in one beam. But either way, that is the end of the replay. That is the end of my casting. Y'all can shed a tear for the end of the cast. Great game. Well played by, I think, all teams, or both teams. And yeah, that's about it. If you guys want to add me on Discord, if you guys want to play some games with me and some of the guys that I play with, feel free to add me. Again, handle down in the description below. Add me as a friend. Just reach out and say, hey, looking to play with you sometime. I'll make a mental note and see if you're online next time we're playing. I'll try and get you in on a couple of games. But with that, I have no more news left for y'all. I hope I see you guys in the next one. Peace.